Hi, everyone. I'm Patricia. So picture this. There I was, absolutely killing it at Johnson and Partners as their youngest marketing executive at just 29. Life was golden. I just landed the Miller account and the office was buzzing. That's actually how I met Lucas. He was the guy upgrading our software systems, a total tech whiz. Watching him geek out over coding was oddly mesmerizing. "You're staring at the it guy again," Maria, my work bestie, whispered during a meeting, jabbing me with her elbow. "Shut up. Am I that obvious? Girl, you might as well have hearts floating above your head." One coffee date turned into dinner. Dinner turned into lazy weekends together. Before I knew it, Lucas was down on one knee at our favorite rooftop restaurant. Everything felt like a dream until I met her. Andrew. Yes, Andrew. Lucas's sister. From day one, she had this way of making me feel 2 inches tall. Like when she leaned in at our first dinner together and cooed, "Oh, marketing. How creative." I always tell Mark we should let someone manage our real estate firm's social media. Maybe you could give us a friend discount. I smiled tightly. Actually, our firm handles major corporate accounts. She tilted her head, that fake sweet smile plastered across her face. Of course, sweetie, we all start somewhere. Thank God for Lucas's mom, Helen. She always stepped in when Andrew started sharpening her claws. "Patricia's quite accomplished, Victoria," Helen said one evening. "Not everyone needs to follow your path in life." But things really took a turn when the wedding planning began. Andrew showed up everywhere, uninvited. "That venue won't work," she said at one appointment. "Lucas had awful allergies there during my wedding. And those flowers? So basic. Here's my florist card." Maria was the first to call it out. Over lunch one day, she said, "She changed your cake tasting appointment without telling you." "That's not normal, Patricia." "I don't know," I said, trying to shrug it off. "Maybe she's just excited. She is his only sister." Or, Maria said, narrowing her eyes, "maybe she can't stand not being the center of attention." "Did you hear what she did at her cousin's baby shower?" "No, what?" "Announced her pregnancy right when they were opening gifts." "Oh my God, she was pregnant?" Spoiler alert, she wasn't. The tension grew worse when I landed another major account, while Andrew's real estate business hit a rough patch. She showed up to a family dinner looking like she just stepped off a soap opera set, her eyes red and puffy. "It's just so hard," she said, sniffling dramatically, "seeing everyone else succeed when we're having such a rough time. But I'm so happy for you, Patricia. Really." The way she said my name made my skin crawl. But Lucas just squeezed my hand under the table. "Don't let her get to you," he whispered. "She's always been dramatic." If only I'd known then how far her drama would go. A few weeks later, the nightmare began. Lucas stormed into the Cooper family living room, an envelope clutched in his hand. "What kind of sick joke is this?" He threw it onto the coffee table, and photos spilled out. Me and Mark, Andrew's husband, in what looked like intimate moments. My stomach dropped. "I found them in Mark's desk drawer," Andrew said, her voice trembling with fake concern. I didn't want to believe it, but Patricia, how could you? "These are fake," I said, my hands shaking as I grabbed the photos. They were from different family gatherings, clumsily edited but convincing enough to cast out. "Our son deserves better than this," Helen said, her face flushed with anger. "Please, you have to believe me," I pleaded. "Someone's manipulated these photos." Lucas's voice cracked. "The timestamps show these were taken last month during your late meetings." "Those were client meetings. Maria was with me the whole time." Andrew sniffled, dabbing at her eyes. "Maria works for you. She'd say anything." Robert, Lucas's father, stood up, his expression heavy with disappointment. "The wedding needs to be postponed. We can't move forward with this cloud of suspicion." Then my phone buzzed and buzzed and buzzed. Somehow, the photos had been leaked to our social circle. Messages started pouring in. "Did you see the photos? I can't believe Patricia would do this. Poor Lucas. We always knew she was too ambitious to settle down." The messages didn't stop. Friends I'd known for years turned into strangers overnight. Only Maria stood by me. "This is absolute bullshit," Maria fumed as she paced my living room. "Look at these photos. Anyone with eyes can see they're doctored. The lighting doesn't even match." I sat curled up on the couch, mascara streaked down my face. "Nobody wants to hear it," I whispered. "They all think I'm some kind of My voice cracked. Stop it, Maria snapped. We're not playing into Andrew's game. She paused, a thought crossing her mind. You know what's weird? This reminds me of what happened with her old business partner's wife. Remember that scandal? I wiped my face, anger flickering through the despair. What scandal? Thomas Reed. His wife was accused of something similar, but the whole thing just vanished. Their partnership dissolved after that. You think Andrew was behind it? Maria folded her arms. Burl, I know she was. My cousin works in real estate. Andrew's got a reputation, but no one's brave enough to talk. Maybe it's time someone did, I said, sitting up straighter. Maria grinned. Now you're talking, and I know just the person. Emily Parker, private investigator. She's a wizard with digital forensics. As if on cue, my phone buzzed. A message from Lucas. I need more time to think. Maybe we should take a break. I showed Maria the text, my heart breaking all over again. Take all the time you need, Lucas, Maria said as she read over my shoulder. Then she smirked. Because when this is over, you'll be begging for forgiveness. And honey, you're not getting it. These photos were definitely manipulated, Emily Parker said, pointing to her computer screen. Look at these pixel inconsistencies. I'm at your work. Can you prove who did it? I asked, leaning forward. Better. The editing software license traces back to a freelancer who works for Andrew's real estate firm. And guess who's been paying him under the table? Just then, Maria burst into the office. You won't believe who just called me. Thomas Reed, Andrew's old business partner. He saw your name tied to Emily's investigation and says he's been waiting years for someone to expose her. 3 hours later, I sat across from Thomas at a quiet cafe, my hands gripping a cold coffee cup. She destroyed my marriage, my business, everything, he said, his voice heavy. She used doctored photos to convince investors I was embezzling funds. By the time I cleared my name, she'd stolen my client list and started her own firm. Why didn't you expose her? I asked. She had dirt on my brother's company. She threatened to leak it. But now, he slid a USB drive across the table. This proves she's been running a property flipping scheme, fake documents, fraudulent inspections. The works. Maria's research uncovered more victims. Andrew's college roommate driven out of their shared business. A cousin whose fiancé mysteriously called off their engagement after Andrew helpfully shared concerning texts. Emily called me late one night. I followed the money trail from Andrew's scams. Her firm's drowning in debt. But Mark? He's been moving serious cash through offshore accounts. What kind of cash? The kind that catches the SEC's attention. Insider trading, using his clients' investment info. Andrew's property schemes are just a cover. My phone buzzed again. Helen this time. We miss you, Patricia. Maybe if you just apologized. I typed back, still not feeling well. Need more time alone. Emily's voice pulled me back. Remember the freelancer who edited your photos? Turns out he's been working for Andrew for years. Family photos, business documents, even court records. And he kept receipts. Thomas called again. The SEC is very interested in Mark's trading activity. They just need more evidence. Tell them to wait, I said, my resolve hardening. I want Andrew exposed all at once. The annual Cooper family brunch is next month. Maria reminded me. Helen's been begging you to come. Perfect timing, I said. By then, we'll have everything. Emily looked up from her computer, her expression sharp. Speaking of timing, you won't believe this. Mark and Andrew are planning to sell the company and flee the country. I smiled for the first time in weeks. Then we better move fast. I smiled, a plan forming. Let them think they've got time. The Cooper family brunch was going to be unforgettable. Is everyone ready? I texted our group chat. Agents in position, Emily replied. Thomas and the others are waiting for your signal, Maria confirmed. With my head held high, I walked into the garden party, the scent of roses and freshly cut grass masking the tension building in the air. Andrew's smug smile faltered when she saw me. Patricia, she said, her voice syrupy. We didn't expect you. I wouldn't miss it, I replied coolly. Oh, and I brought some friends. Right on cue, Thomas Reed walked in, followed by a line of Andrew's past victims, her face drained of color. What is this? Andrew hissed, her composure slipping. Helen looked around, confused. Patricia, what's going on? Show them, I said to Emily. She connected her laptop to the garden projector, the screen flickering to life. These are the original, unedited photos from my supposed affair, Emily announced. The evidence played out in stark detail, timestamps, lighting inconsistencies, and finally, the payment receipt from Andrew to her Photoshop freelancer. Your guy kept excellent records. Andrew's voice cracked as she shrieked. She's lying. Like you lied about my company's finances? Thomas stepped forward, slamming a folder onto the table. These are forged documents, fake property inspections, and proof of embezzlement. Mark tried to quietly slip away, but two SEC agents blocked his path. Going somewhere, Mr. Cooper? One of them asked. We have some questions about those offshore accounts and insider trading. Andrew's mask shattered. She lunged at me, rage etched into her face. You set us up. Lucas caught her arm. Like you set up your college roommate? My cousin's engagement. How many lives have you destroyed, Andrew? Helen covered her mouth, tears streaming down her face as more victims stepped forward to share their stories. Robert's hands trembled as he read through Thomas's documents. Our daughter, he whispered, his voice breaking. How could you? Andrew's eyes blazed with defiance. I had to. Everyone always loved perfect Patricia more, even my own parents. Lucas turned to me, guilt and desperation in his eyes. Patricia, I'm so sorry. I should have believed you. I pulled my hand away. Yes, you should have. But you didn't. Please, he begged. We can fix this. I shook my head. No, Lucas. I fix everything else. I turned to Maria, who grinned knowingly. We were ready to announce the launch of our new marketing firm, built on the ashes of Andrew's schemes. 6 months later, I watched Andrew's sentencing on TV. 5 years for fraud. Mark got 12 for insider trading. Their elaborate scams had made national headlines, shattering the Cooper family's reputation. Some people tear others down to feel bigger, but real success, that comes from rising above, working harder, and letting karma do its job. What would you have done in my position? Would you have exposed Andrew's crimes publicly at the family brunch, knowing it would humiliate the entire Cooper family, including innocent people like Helen and Robert? Or would you have quietly reported her, risking Andrew twisting the narrative yet again? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever faced a manipulator like Andrew? How did you handle it? Your stories could help someone else feel less alone. And if you want to hear more tales about standing up to toxic family dynamics and coming out stronger, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Sometimes the people who should protect us the most end up causing the deepest wounds. But we always have the power to heal and to fight back.